we're going to have another talk, another conversation. I'll just say a few words to begin, and then we can just go into it. So all there is what is. All there is immediacy. There's just this. Just what is. There doesn't need to be anything else. There couldn't be anything else. There's just freedom. There's just aliveness. There's just unconditional neutrality. There's just this. No more stories or ideas of getting somewhere needed. There's just this room, there's just sitting on a seat. There's just listening to the birds, just feelings in the body, senses. All there is what is. Me, the energy of me, the energy of the sense of contraction wants something else. It doesn't want this. It wants something other than this. It wants something more, wants something better, wants something exciting or stimulating or just whatever it is. It has to be not this. And yet all the time there's just this. And so there's nothing to get to here. There's nothing. We will talk around this. We'll if there's questions, that there will be responses to those probably. And there'll be a conversation here. But we will never be able to define what this is, because this is unknowable, freely unknowable, just wonderfully unknowable, without there needing to be anything that knows what this is. This isn't for anybody. Nobody will understand this at the end of talking. There won't be anybody that suddenly goes, "Oh, I understand," because there is nothing to understand. This can't be got. There's no one to get it. So this is. Anything can be talked about. Free discussion. Say whatever you want. It's just a free thing. No holes barred.
It really feels like you're getting somewhere sometimes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, me always wants to feel that it's in a progress. It's progressive, It's trying to get somewhere. It's becoming something. Becoming better. Because this isn't enough. And all the time, all there is enoughness. This is enoughness.
like he said, we're always trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
I sometimes think if everybody, or if I didn't feel like a me, and you were sitting there saying, you know, I feel like a separate me, I would want that. Do you know what I mean? I think it's just that not, oh, there's something that I don't feel that's, I don't know, that I'm trying to like get to.
But the grass is always greener.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, me is always, that's the position of me, that's what somebody else has got, something that I want to get. This is actually just the absence of getting. This is the failure of getting what it is that is what the me wants. Is his failure, if you like. It is the end of there being something to get. So I mean, yeah, me has that, you know, always. The grass is over there. It's going to be better, you know. And that's a fantasy. There's nothing that knows anything over here. You know, has got something. I've got it, and I can give that to you. No.
But it's that me energy that.
Yeah, me projects
like,
it.
Projects it.
Yeah, projects it. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, because it looks like that because I'm over here, and there's something over there. You know, it's like this is going on like that. So it kind of like immediately, oh, well, everything's pointing this way, you know, and so it looks like that this is important. But as I do, you know, say that actually the chair is exactly the same point, possibly slightly more important. So yeah, it's not really about that. It's just that this is just expressing. That you know, that statement that all there is what is.
To me, it always just feels like all that it, what you just said, right? Like, what is all there is. It's just like, feels like as soon as it gets talked about at all, then that's where it feels like separation's born, right? It's like as soon as the talking seems to talk about it, then there seems to be almost like there has to seem to be, because you're talking about it.
That's it, and there is no it. Right. And I mean, well, there's the me immediately latches onto that and kind of goes, where is it?
Right.
So it's annoying, isn't it?
Because you're talking and listening, and so there's a
there's like
your reason
he must be talking about something.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. So it's me naturally turns this into an object.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, it turns non-duality into an object. But non-duality isn't an object; it's already everything. It's already everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously.
Obviously. Yeah. No, sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's the nature of discussing it. Yeah.
Mhm.
David, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is doing nothing?
Well, for me, doing nothing is doing something, basically. Is doing something which is sort of nothing. It's trying to do nothing. Me tries to do nothing. So it's a trying to let go, trying to surrender, trying to. It's just a trying. It's an attempt. It's waiting. That's another thing that me seems to do. Waiting, trying. You know. Trying to do nothing.
It's still doing something.
It's doing something, yeah. It's doing. So there's doing nothing, and then there's just nothing. And nothing is nothing is a hell of a lot more relaxing, is all I can say.
So what is the me? I mean, originally I thought the body mind is me, and then the teacher say that the awareness seems is also a me.
Well, I mean, just to say, this is not a teaching, of course. So there's nothing that can be taught. But yeah, there can be people that speak around this, just speak around this, and that's the nature of what is me. Well, there isn't really a thing called me, but the closest we can sort of describe it is perhaps a contraction of energy, a quality of contraction of energy, which is a sense of separateness, which seems to form in the story around an early age, quite a young age, where the brain gets to a certain point of complexity where there's a possibility of being able to abstract a sense of myself. And that sense of myself creates that feeling of separateness. I am here, you're there. 1, 2, dualism. It's that. So that seems to go on, and stories develop around that, and it becomes a huge, sort of superstructure called myself, my life, or whatever. Yeah.
What do you refer to superstructure?
I just mean a sort of built-up picture, a big picture of me, my life, my life, my story. But all of that is within a kind of bubble. It's a sort of bubble of a sort of the illusion, the illusion that there is someone, there's a me, there is a real me. I like to call that me, the me state. It's just a state of contraction. It's not constant. It comes and goes. Even in 24 hours, it comes and goes. It's not a solid me. So that subject, that can at any point just completely fall away. When there's no subject, there's no object, and then all there is what is. And that's what, the bubble bursts. Apparently. Seems to. And then there's just what is. And there's always was, this was always what is. There was just a sort of hallucination or a fever that was going on, where it wasn't seen, and it seemed that everything was separate, apparently separate, but that's all it is. It's not real.
So you don't have that bubble of I have to do this later today, and then tomorrow I've got to do that.
Well, those are sort of, in a way, sort of plans, a plan of whatever. But a plan is just a plan. Mm-hmm. It's not real. It's just an idea, a thought. Those things can still go on. There's no problem about those kind of things. It's just a sort of practical plan of whatever. It may or may not be the case, of course, that
Right. Yeah. So I guess now it's confusing what the difference is, because you're just not attaching to it and thinking this is.
Well, there's no story around there being a plan that is important for me.
Like no narrator inside talking it out.
I mean, there can be thoughts that seem to happen. There can be thoughts about coming to this meeting or whatever. That can still seem to happen, no problem. Thinking can happen, strategy can happen, all of that can happen. But it's not about. There isn't a sort of a quality where this is a part of my story, a part of a story where there is a me, and this is what's going to happen to me. It's just what's happening. perhaps you could say that, things don't matter. What matters is, is idea of making something very important. My story is very important. A meeting is very important. This is very important. That it becomes important, significant. Yeah. This is the end of that, of significance in that way.
So this space, is it void of all those people that say, just be?
Oh yeah. Well, just be. I mean, what can you do with it? Just be. Well, I'll say
So
just
there
be.
is no be, me.
No.
No.
This is that's be. Just be is becoming. It's just a subtle version of becoming. Being, you are going to become being. Yeah, trying to become, and then it's about trying to be. How are you going to try and be?
So, but this is still being no one.
Well, that's again a path of becoming no one.
So
I'm going
this
to
is
become.
not what you're talking
No.
about. No.
There's no possibility of becoming. There's no possibility of even being. I'm going to being. No. All that there is in this expression is that all of those attempts to try to become anything at all, or anything, trying to get somewhere, just fall apart. It's a falling apart of all of that sort of attempts to try to get somewhere.
Trust me, I've tried. You're
Yeah.
right. It doesn't work.
Right. Me too. Yeah.
Just wanted to-
That was what was going on as well here. I tried everything under the sun, and I do mean there was quite a lot of things that were tried here anyway, and all I failed. Everything failed. Everything. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you not being or not here or whatever, because I am giving this, whatever this is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh well, no, I'm very happy to be here and talk to you. Yeah. Yeah.
there's no time?
I can't explain why there's no time, but I mean there is no time.
Why is that?
Well, I mean there just isn't. It's just time. Time just is that is an abstract idea. Me forms time. Me is time, actually. Me is time. So as soon as time as soon as there is a sense of contraction of a subject, a center, there's a beginning of time. Time starts. Without that, there's no time. There's just what is. It just immediacy.
I mean, I can understand the timeless because
Yeah, okay.
it is undefinable.
Right, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah.
But this immediacy is also in the time. If we consider a word like a time, the immediacy can pass, and then it's become the past. It's to disappear.
I mean that's within the bubble of me, if you like. Then there is the appearance of time, the sense that there's an appearance of time. But it's not real. Time isn't real. Time is just an abstract sense of or a picture that is being applied onto what is.
But this what is a continuum. I mean.
Well, no,
the
me
continuum
is continuum. Me is continuum. Me is the energy that wants to continue everything, wants to keep everything moving within time. But there is, outside of that, there's nothing. There's just what is. There's no time. That's a within the me, if you like. For want of a better word, there isn't a within or a without actually, but ultimately there's the sense of me is time.
Do you understand this before in the story, the me drop?
No, well, no. There's no understand. You can't understand timelessness. There is no one to understand timelessness actually. But all the time there is a story of me. It is absolutely sure that there is a past, a present, a now, and a future. So that's the life of me. That's my life.
So we don't need to understand this.
No. You don't need to understand this at all. There's no requirement to understand this. Nobody understands this. I don't understand this. This is just what is. And there's no attempt to convince you of anything, by the way. This is not an attempt to convince anybody of anything. There isn't anybody to convince, actually. But all there is what is.
Well, I don't understand either,
No.
but it feels so right. I don't even know how to explain it.
Thank you. Yes. Absolutely.
So if everything is energy, do you think the belief can impact this?
The belief can impact this. I mean, belief is born of me. So me, in a way, you could say me is belief as well. You can say that. The me state is belief.
And we don't need a belief to say this is immediacy.
All there is this. So what do we? There's something to believe in. I believe in. 1, 2, dualism. So it is a belief. That's belief. Dualism is a believing in things, whatever they are. can be anything. So this is without belief. This is without any belief. Doesn't need belief. Yeah. But, if you look out and look at natural trees, or or anything, or even the carpets, or there's no requirement of belief. It's just what it is. It's quite relaxing, that, by the way.
It's also relaxing for the character, even though there isn't one.
Well, I mean, there's something that character, that me is that sense. It can be relaxing,
Right.
because that me, there's a sense that there's doesn't need to do anything. Doesn't need to do anything anymore. That can be relaxing. Can be. Sometimes it's completely the opposite. It's actually a sense that, oh God, I need to do something. What, So, yeah.
David, you sort of referred to it obliquely, but it all points to that really there's no sense of me. And that's why
There is no me, yeah. But I mean, you can say that to someone where there is a sense of me, and it doesn't,
yeah.
they don't, it doesn't compute.
Yeah,
that.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so what do you think if every body lost the sense of me?
Mm.
Like, would life, we wouldn't all be sitting here, because I think I'm sitting here because I'm like, oh, I want to hear more about something to get somewhere. But if I don't have a me, there's nowhere to get to.
No.
So what, are we just like animals, like out wandering, just eating and taking care of the body, or are we still going to work and still, because, what do you think would happen?
Well, I mean, that is quite a hypothetical situation, okay? I mean, we are going into Wonderland.
Yes, for a second. It's
Sure.
safe.
Well, things can carry on without me.
Mm-hmm.
Life carries on perfectly happily without there being a me.
Mm-hmm.
There can still be, I don't know, hospitals run, and all kinds of things can go on without me. What seems to happen when there is no more me is that there isn't any ambition, and a lot of what seems to be going on in the world is based on a huge amount of ambition to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, for sure, when me falls away, there is a lot of that kind of energy that falls away. So, there is a sort of, in a certain sense, a simplicity that seems to occur. This is a simplification.
But you don't think that that's going to happen?
Well, I mean, there is no knowing of anything. All there is this, and this message is not very popular, as you can see. No, but I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not.
Right.
There's other messages out there. Even with people that have been speaking for a long time. They're relatively, that this sort of message is not very popular. There's the message that is popular is I want to get somewhere, and I want to be taught how to get somewhere. So it's about meeting a teacher that can help you to get somewhere. This isn't that, because this is there's nothing here to offer. Yeah, so there's no, and there's nothing there to receive anything actually. But the point is that there's not a attempt to get anywhere here.
We did say what it is. It's the end, because we looked everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you suppose, given enough time, people would eventually wind up here if they didn't die first?
I mean, that another hypothetical. So this is, I mean, that me loves to go into the stories, right? So I mean, I'm just pointing that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would seem that once you try every possible avenue, you've got a Groundhog Day that goes round and round and round and round and round, which interestingly enough is quite a lot like life. There is that the me is going round in a loop. That is a Groundhog Day in a way, and so there seems to be an inevitability that there will be a complete failure of all of the things that me tries to hold on to. So inevitably, yes, it does end up with this, and even if there isn't, that this is not. Even right at the end of this body, and the contraction of me is still there. At the point of death, there is an obviously the end of me, and the return to what is, which never left. Of course, it's not really a return, but it's. Words are a little bit difficult here. I'm just, using a few of them, not particularly well, but yeah.
Ballparking.
Yeah, ballparking. Exactly, that's what it is. Yeah.
So failure could be a huge success. Failure could be a huge success.
Failure could be a huge success. Well, yeah, or essentially that. Yeah, I mean, I talk about it as being failure.
Or the end of failure is success.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's the end of failure. It's the end of there being a winner or a loser. It's the end of all of that kind of stuff.
And the end of hope too.
Of course, yeah. Wonderfully, the end of hope, because hope is really tiring.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. To be hopeful. Yeah, it's really.
It's kind of like poison.
It's really bloody hell. It's like, yeah. You have to keep going,
It seems like the me cannot imagine the end of me.
No, it can't. Or it try.
It tries,
Oh, yeah.
but it cannot.
No.
And when it tries to imagine, it almost feels like a death, and so kind of a death of me, and then
Yeah.
it can't.
Then there's a lot of fear and trepidation
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a whole load of ideas about what that could look like.
Yes,
Which is usually quite dramatic, usually,
Yeah.
not always, but
Yeah.
usually quite a big scene that is being created there.
when it creates an end of me, when it creates, but
Yeah.
but it might not even be able to imagine.
No,
it.
no, it can't. But that, in a way, because it's unknowable, that's
It's
quite
unknowable.
fearful. There's generally, or could be, not always, but there could be a sense of fear around that, because there's it's unknowable, and that in the world of me is threatening.
Well, it either imagines like a terrible, the end of me,
Mhm.
like a terrible thing,
Yeah.
or imagines like, oh, it's gonna
It's
be
a
a
wonderful
beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it goes like,
Yeah.
it's like
Back
in a
and forth.
box, it's like a little
Yeah.
fly in
Yeah.
a jar.
Sure.
Like it's hitting
Yeah.
this wall, this wall, this
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah, it depends what. In a way, it depends what you've had for breakfast.
It's as random as that.
Well, yeah. Well, what I mean is that it depends how the day's gone.
What you're imagining.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Some days it's awful, and other days it's it's going to be okay. It's all right. I'm going to get somewhere really good after this.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Get somewhere is always getting somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And other days you can't keep the same attitude for 5 minutes straight.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Fluctuation. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And not all of that happening without anyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me state changing.
It's interesting that the idea of me needs to be maintained.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sure. And impossibly. It's absolutely impossible, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
there's no
it's a struggle.
possibility of that
You have to
being a
keep-
steadiness of that.
You got to keep recreating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a way, you have to keep telling the same story over and over and over again to keep it steady. And of course,
Yeah.
that can't. That's impossible.
Sometimes, unbeknownst to us, it just disappears.
Yeah.
You're in nature. I mean, it's not for a person, but it just resets to just this.
It just
seems.
falls away.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the drive to seek just burns out, just dissolves, and that's the end. Seeking is me, so this is the end of seeking.
You can't do anything to try
No.
to do that because
No.
that just reinforces.
Well, it does reinforce. You could
Yeah.
say it reinforces, but also all the reinforcement in the world isn't going to help that falling away. If that's going to fall away, it's going to fall away.
Yeah. And it has nothing to do. It's not a function of us being in
No.
the room or nothing like that. That's all cut and dry as the story and the appearance, so
Yeah,
to speak.
yeah. There's just people in this room.
Yeah.
You know.
It's very. I always say it's black and white in that way. It's another story, kind of, but it's like there's not degrees.
No,
Yeah.
no. That would be
It's
progression.
either there's an idea of me or there's not.
Yeah. There's no progress, made.
Yeah. That would be within the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is an emptying out. This is a falling away. This is a dying. A dying. It's a bit dramatic of a word, but it is a dying. Yeah.
So here's a question. We try to have attention to see this. Nobody's controlling that, but it doesn't stop us from having attention, and it just might hit it. And it's not a function of the attention. It seems like a function, of the attention in some way. It does. It seems like when attention is oriented as what you're speaking, something hits. Now, it's understood that there's no one here to do that, and it's not being controlled, but that doesn't stop it from happening.
No,
It doesn't stop this apparent character from having attention.
No, but
and
me
then feeling
is
something hit.
Me is uncontrollable. Me can't control me.
But it feels that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, me imagines that it's in control. It isn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's no control. There's just this. Doesn't need to be any control.
So even if I thought it was, I'm being redundant, even if I thought it was a function of attention, it isn't. It just is.
There's no, there's no function of, there's no possibility of there being, that it's just what is. The me just contracts. It just it just contracts for no reason. It just seems to contract. For no, we can create a story around that, but really there is no reason or purpose for that. It just seems to contract. Energy is completely free to do or be whatever, and the nature of me is a sense of contraction, and that energy just contracts. It only does one thing. That's all it does.
So anytime I allude to even an idea of a me having attention, it's just, I'm alluding to an idea of me. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, me is just analysing itself. Me is just looking at, is just called sort of observing itself. There's a me and observing itself. Two-headed me, It can become very complex in that hall of mirrors. Yeah.
Working on the spiritual path for 30 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that's that it seems like that's a story there of a spiritual journey of 30 years, when all there is just immediacy. There isn't any 30 years. There's no journey, and there's no you.
Wow.
And there's no me analyzing a me either.
No. There's there's just the energy of contraction, which in that seems to be going on there, but it's an illusion.
It feels. I'm sorry.
No.
It feels like the energetic feeling into it is some kind of resonance inroad, as opposed to the mind. I could even feel the mind trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But when it stops here, and then there's just a sensing of this, even when it's listening. Then it seems to something seems to dawn in some way for the apparent person. Yeah. Just making a statement.
Yeah, no. Understood. Yeah.
So I know all the answers when I ask the questions.
Yeah.
But I just do it. Is there something to that?
No.
You make me cry. Because you're very intelligent, but intelligence isn't going to cut it. Yeah. He said
No, I'm not
nothing.
trying.
No. Not all the books, not all the teachings, not all the mind, nothing nothing.
Yeah, use the word function originally as in like something doing something to something else. Like immediately duality.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've wanted it.
I
Yeah.
understand.
Through the mind, through the heart, through the toes, through the whatever. Chamba. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
He said it will fall away.
Well, it's not. You know, there's nothing happening.
Yeah. See? That's what I meant to say. That.
That's what I was alluding to, believe it or not, is the energetic rather than the
Not even that.
figuring out or
He's saying nothing.
falling away.
I mean, there's no.
It feels different.
There's,
Feels
I mean,
different.
how about this? There's no closer to this. There's no getting closer to this.
Thank you.
So there's just what is. You can't get closer to this. You can't get further away from this. All there is this.
But so, like Tony says, but yeah, there's something energetic that may arise.
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
room.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's in a way that's me wanting to kind of latch onto something energetic in the room that's going to help me.
So it's taken out of context.
But actually,
so to
yeah,
speak.
exactly, and you know, Tony would be, you know, very, very often has expressed that there is no one, and that there is nothing that can be done. So there's you know, that isn't going to provide an energy which can be clung onto and help you. It would
So-
be, you know.
And that seems to be the dynamic. Is anything that is said, the idea of me will take it and run with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will latch on.
And say, now this, I have to do this. So
Yeah.
it still feels like there's something to it. It just still feels like there's something arises energetically.
Hmm. Yeah.
Through
Well, me will take whatever
through
it can.
attention. When it
It's going to
drops.
try to turn this
But-
into
but
something,
not
no
even
matter
that.
what.
But not even that. It just drops and it becomes more subtle, like more. Heart. I don't know. It just seems to open up when there's a tuning in, or it's heartfelt. I could say heartfelt or something like that.
To whom?
I'm not speaking about
Oh.
it. It's okay.
You know, David, it almost feels like to me that with every statement it should be said that there is no one.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. Yes,
To just kind of cut it short.
you can always say that. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to make any difference. Once me is trying to get somewhere, it will continually try to get somewhere, no matter what. It keeps on going. I mean, you can keep on saying there is no one, there is no one, there is no one, and
Become a mantra.
yeah, and then what me will do is it will take that and it will say, oh, you're teaching me that there's no one, right? Okay, there's no one, there's no one, there's no one, there's no one, and it will do that. There's nothing, there's nothing to do here. This is not trying to get anywhere, and this is not trying to help anyone because there is no one.
So you can't fake it till you make it.
No.
Right. There used to be teachings that say, even if you, I'm just for interest's sake, even if.
Well, you're interested in this. Okay.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I won't go down the road. But even if mechanically, it's just for interest, you repeat eventually the actuality. It's.
Well, that's all a teaching. All of that is a teaching.
I'm just saying.
So it's, trying to get somewhere.
Right.
All of that's trying to get somewhere.
And are you saying everything's an illusion? Well, I'm only saying that because you had just talked about the me, and you're like, no, the me is an illusion. But I feel like a me, and so that's an illusion, is what you're saying.
Well,
but if that's what's happening right right now is a me. It's what's happening. That's what is. Right?
I mean, let's just simplify this instead of talking about illusion. What is expressed here is the end of seeking. This is the end of seeking. Me is a seeker. Me is seeking.
Yeah.
This is the end of me. Then we don't have to get into the illusion thing. We can go into that, but why? Don't have to use that word. You can use another word. It doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter what words you use. All this is expressing is that all there is this. All there is immediacy. You don't have to think about illusion, not illusion, real, unreal, nothing, everything. Forget it. All there is this. It's just this. That's it. It's just what is.
Some teacher, they say it's a shift. It's a change of perception. What's your input on that?
Well, I mean, if a teacher is saying that, then very often it's trying to, would be to suggest in that there's something that you can get, that is something that somebody can get. For this, this is the end of me is the end of happening. So things are happening, and then this is the end of happening. There's nothing happening.
But the perception, because when there's a me, it's a subject-object. When there's no me, I guess the perception. Because I also heard on one of your YouTube Zoom, you discuss with somebody. Because maybe she say the me, when the me collapses, the me is no more forward. I don't remember correctly, but you said it seems like a diminishing, like a backward. If you remember what you said.
I don't remember this one. No, sorry. You need to be a little bit.
Yeah, maybe the idea is the me normally is more obvious, right? Stand up.
Right. Okay.
Up,
yeah.
Right? And then.
Okay, I see what it is. I think I understand it. I think what I was saying is that as a general thing, me needs to be in the foreground.
Yeah, foreground.
Right. So it needs to be constantly like seen, and like it's the main thing, in a way. And this is a falling away of that, and all that's left is the background, if you like.
The background means everything.
All
including this, whatever the body.
Including what's there. It's just a way of describing it. But it's just that me is very significant. Me seems to be, need to be very significant and important and special. So it's right up front and center, And this isn't. This is all. This is everything and nothing. So it's not. It's not about being special. My life.
But the perception, I think the perception could also change a little bit.
Well, I mean,
because you talk about foreground, background.
Yes, but this isn't to talk about the nature of actually seeing something or whatever it is. I don't just see the background or whatever. That I see, it's just the same. It's the same. There's no difference in the mechanism of seeing, if that's what you mean. I'm not quite sure what you mean by perception here.
Just the way of looking at things, because when there's object-subject, I feel there's a me here.
Right, yeah.
And then I'm just imagine when the me collapse.
Well, that's the point. What's going on there is that you're imagining what it would be like if there was no me.
Right.
Impossible. It's just impossible. You can't imagine this.
But it cannot be the older way of looking things.
It can't be what seems to be there. No, it will. Well, I mean, you're suggesting that there's something else. There's something other than the way that you're looking at things.
Or more blended.
Right. Well, that's again what you're imagining.
Right, I'm
Yeah.
imagining.
Yeah. So it's a fantasy about what this is.
So you're not thinking anyway like I'm doing now.
I mean, what's going on there is that there seems to be an analysis of trying to understand what this is, and this isn't in analysis. It is not trying to understand anything. It's just what is.
Well, in a way, there's already no me, right? So that's what, because
Well, yeah, but I mean, yes.
So that I just
There is already no
sometimes
me.
I do that because it's like, well, if there's
Yes.
no me, then this is
Yeah.
it,
Well, then
and
why
it
do
doesn't
I?
matter.
Why do I feel? Contracted or whatever it
Right.
is? Why do I feel separate
Yeah, yeah,
if there's no me?
yeah.
Well, sure. Well, that's the thing about this. There is no real me. There is no me thing called me. But there is a sense there, perhaps, that there is a sense of separateness.
Yeah.
So in the end, it doesn't matter whether.
That part.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter about
It's
saying
either
whether
way.
there's. It doesn't matter about saying whether there's a me or not me, or it doesn't matter about any of that. That isn't sort of saying, oh, okay, well, there's no me, so I'm fine. Well, that's not,
Yeah.
That still feels what it feels. That still feels a sense of separateness. And all that's expressed here is that is just what seems to be happening. Just that, a sense of separateness.
Right, I guess it backs up, I'm just talking, but on that, if there's no me, then that sense of separateness is what anyway, it's just, seems like I'm trying to make sense of something and that's just it. I don't know,
Yeah.
There's no me already.
But there's a
And
working.
is there even a sense of separateness,
that-
or is that just what I...
All of that is a working out of something. It's an attempt to try to work this out.
Right.
You can't work it out.
Right.
Which is a sense of relief.
Well, it could be, or it could be a sense of extreme irritation.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very irritated.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's the point. It doesn't. This what is expressed here doesn't. It doesn't. It's just neutrally what it's not trying to help anything here, because there can't be anything. There's nothing to do.
I know you keep saying it's not that you figured it out.
No.
And so I'm
No.
like, then why are you trying to figure it out?
Right, but
stop
that's
trying to
it.
figure
Well,
it out.
okay.
But then that's just me trying to stop figuring it out.
Right. So let's just call it a fever then.
Okay.
What are you going to do with that?
Eat medicine.
Antibiotics.
Yeah.
Do you have Tylenol for us? For the meat?
Exactly.
Have a go. There's a lot of medicine out there.
Oh, I know what
Many
that
forms.
is.
Shut up.
It's mean, David.
Yeah.
We will be searching for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. This is incurable, actually. It just falls away.
Would you almost equate the act of seeking to the I itself as like the same thing?
Yeah, it's the same. Yes, it's just an energetic contraction. That energetic contraction, seeking is the voice of me. It's one and the same thing.
And the second you're looking for a prescription to get to a different situation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when the separation hits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're looking for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Always looking for something else.
Like a how-to or a method or a hack.
Yeah.
Or I want to bottle this up into
absolutely.
Words that I can give to someone else.
Yeah, or a process. Very often a process, you know. So if I say something like, "Oh, this just burns out the energy," and somebody says, "Oh, well, how do I do that? How do I burn this out?"
Yeah, step 1, step 2,
Yeah,
step 3.
let's go through the process of burning it out.
And step 1 is the first ignition. Step 2 is the second ignition. It just
yeah,
gets worse.
you have to keep on adding steps, and then it becomes a teaching, you know,
and a lifestyle.
But this is only just an expression of it's just expressing something, you know, and it's not really there's no method at all. There's nothing. There can be a method because there isn't anything.
You try to write it down, it's just irony.
Yeah. Me will always latch onto something and turn it into something. You know, it always doesn't matter what you do, what you say.
There's ever like an experience that I want to try to get back to it by any means possible. Well, the I.
Mm-hmm.
Just expression.
Yeah. Sure.
those Jim Newman meetings where nobody says anything
Mm-hmm.
can be quite impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Joking.
Yeah.
But there's literally no difference anyway, right? Silence or
Or talking, yeah.
Talking.
No, it's just what's happening. Yeah.
standing or sitting.
Of course, it's
In that story, do you have a lot of meditation practice?
no, not at all. No, none.
Not interested.
No. I was never really. I did it, different kinds, but it was never really interesting here. No,
Different kinds? What do you mean?
different forms of meditation. I did tried many different kinds of meditation. Yeah.
But not
No, not really. I like to, I still like Qigong, Tai Chi, these kind of things. I like that. I did that for a long time, But it's mainly, the only reason is because it's very pleasurable in the body. So I do that kind of thing, yeah.
So when the me drop, is your Kundalini energy moving smoothly?
No, all of this ideology of Kundalini and all of that stuff is again an attempt to kind of have this thought that somehow those sort of things, those sort of experiences mean something that is, progressing you along a path towards something called enlightenment. It's all about becoming. Energy can move in the body, or not, or not very well. The me can fall away in a very traumatized body, in a body that's very, broken. It can fall away.
So even people have no Kundalini.
Oh
the,
yeah,
the
of
me
course.
sense can also
Of
drop.
course. There's no. It can. The center can fall away from life. There doesn't need to be something that you get to. You've reached a level. Where there's something that has built up enough energy to open something up. Forget it. It's all about becoming. The whole thing is about becoming something. This isn't about becoming. This is just about what is.
But you mentioned the Qigong and the Tai Chi. It's all pretty make the body aligned to the.
No. Only if you do it like that. If you have an ideology that's what that you're using those things in order to get towards enlightenment, then that's what is there. Otherwise, all they are is just movement, pleasurable movement.
But you also feel relaxing.
Well, it can feel relaxing, but that's the body moving towards pleasure. Doesn't need anything to do that. It's just instinctive. Yeah. And some people enjoy in meditation. There's a movement towards just sitting for no reason. Yeah, gazing. That can happen. Children do that, actually. If you might have seen that.
Or do you feel scared when the me drop?
No.
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 The calm version.
No, there was no fear.
No fear.
No fear. Yeah, it's all quite natural. This is not something like extraordinarily. This is extraordinary and totally unnatural and outside of this. This is completely known and obvious and normal This is known to everything. Everybody here knows or has a sense of this, because as we mentioned before, when there's a little child, all there is this. So something sort of gets layered on top of that. The contraction of me, holds that. But all the while, all there is what is. This is the child. This is the nature of the child. This is the nature of newness. Is aliveness. This is unknowable.
It feels like it's obvious there. I love that too. It's inspiring to this character. And it's in the story, the predominant reality for that character is just obvious what it's speaking.
Yeah, well, it is obvious. No, it isn't. It's obvious. That's why.
Yeah,
it is actually
and
obvious.
Then it speaks.
Yeah.
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 That's beautiful. It's nice.
So when we say we are resonating with the message, it's probably the child part that remembers.
Well, I mean, I'm saying the child part. The child. It is in a way you could call this a remembering, although of course that's in time, so we get lost in that problem. But there is no time. But this is a sense of a remembering of what paradise lost, seemingly lost. It's not lost. It's already everything. But it's yeah.
to stop the arising of me, it's a form of suffering. If we try to go along with the whatever the me wants or does, or it's a different form of suffering.
Yeah, there's no escape. It's just what is.
It's a really hopeless situation.
This is no way.
Depends.
This is nothing to do with you. So you can't do anything about it, which is quite wonderful in a way. No.
My whole life I've been trying to do something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. This is a going into retirement. Yeah. Early retirement.
David, say a few words, please, about our obsession with money.
With money. Well.
Security.
Yeah.
As we get older.
Well, I mean, in a certain sense, that's sort of natural, because there's a sense of vulnerability of the body. So there's more of a sense of wanting a protection, and so money is a way of, it seems, of being able to create that sort of protection. So in a way, there's a sort of there's a natural quality about that. Although money itself is a collusion of a concept which is colluded to refer to something which is food or shelter or whatever it is. But there's nothing real about money, of course. It's just another aspect of me.
But is it not a way of just perpetuating, like wanting this security? Isn't just a way of perpetuating?
Well, you can be addicted to trying to get something, if that's what you're talking about. Perhaps you, instead of just money by itself, which is just in a way just a concept, what you were talking to is the sort of, in a way, an addiction to money. It's a feeling that money can get me somewhere if I get enough of it.
Some kind of security.
Yes, well, yes, but it's more than a security. It's actually saying I will find something through getting money. It's a kind of
I'll be okay.
I'll be okay. Yeah, exactly. So that's just another form of addiction, another form of seeking, should I say? Another form of seeking. So it's seeking in a never-ending way that sort of the money to try to find something, substantial that I can claim and say this is mine. And the same thing with everything else. Money, relationship, any of the things that seem to go on, which have a representation of something which is going to make me feel okay. And of course none of it does. Wonderfully, none of it does, yeah. Because it's all dualism, it's all part of the story. Fulfillment, should I say, is part of the story. Trying to get fulfillment, but amazingly, that there's the spirituality. They're trying to get something in the spiritual journey is seen as being much more important. That's and much different. They're seen like getting money and things like that. That's
The worldly way.
That's the world, it's down there. Spirituality is up here, really important, and that's it's okay to kind of do that, They're exactly the same energy seeking. You can seek for money and power and relationship and all those other things, or you can seek for enlightenment, and it's exactly the same energy. It's seeking. It's got to be somewhere, hasn't it?
Spirituality is actually worse.
Well, it's I don't know whether I would say it's worse. I would just say it's the same.
There's more intensity and
Yeah. Well, you don't get a house out of it.
yeah, right.
Unless you're very lucky, and you become a guru or something like that. Then you can probably get a house out of it. But apart from, so that way is potentially a little bit worse. Not really, though.
No, I don't believe
It's the same.
It's the same. Same energy, seeking.
I still think spirituality is worse.
Yeah. Well, you've got a house, so.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying. There's in a certain sense, there's, yeah, it's driving an illusion, yeah. So yeah.
So then you cannot find any fulfillment.
No,
Anywhere.
not at all. No, impossible, really. Yeah, because of course, because it is in itself.
Restlessness.
Yeah, well, it is in itself what it longs for. It's trying to. It's impossible to find something over there. It's already what it's already what all there is what is. So yeah, there's nothing to find. So any attempt to try to find something is going to be a dead loss.
I've heard somewhere, I don't remember where, like you are what you're looking for.
Well, yes, in a way, yes. All there is everything.
Not as
And
a
nothing.
me. Not as a me. I am what I am looking for, not in that
No.
not in that semantic, but in the sense that you're describing.
Yes, what is
What is
what is. Yeah. And me is another is just energy in that form.
Manifestation.
Yeah, it's just energy in that contraction. It is also what is.
And yet you might go to a seminar, because I've seen many teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and you might be attracted to Lorraine,
Mhm.
right? And that's, you're not seeking anything,
Mm-hmm.
but there might be that attraction that we talked about the other day, like you might have an attraction and you may end up happily ever after, right?
Well, I mean, attraction seems to happen. There's going to be
Seems to
attraction,
happen.
repulsion, energy
Yes.
moving.
But
There
it's
can
not coming from a place of seeking. So let's
No,
say
no,
you're
no.
walking into the sunset won't be from a place of seeking anything, any kind of fulfillment, completion. Although you might enjoy her company very much.
I mean, what I mean, all there is what seems to be happening. So there's just energy moving. It's just energy apparently moving. It's just energy in attraction, energy in repulsion, and there's just that.
Yeah, I guess I see my mistake. Like
You're
somehow-
trying to create a kind of story.
Not
around.
only that, but I'm trying to imagine that your state, so-called your state, involves not wanting anything, not, so I'm putting that
But
overlay on
that's
it.
an
Yeah,
illusion.
that's more stories.
Yeah, that's an illusion. There's just what is, and there's not, and the attraction and repulsion is happening all the time with everything. It's not just, there isn't a kind of, story
Yes.
about anything.
I'm curious what you asked about security, and you said that there's how do you say, like some iteration of self-protection, like can naturally happen.
Yeah.
So like, how does that, I guess, relate to security? Like, is there some aspect or level of like
I know
self-protection?
Yeah. No, I mean, basically, it's talking about these two different things. In a certain sense, one is the body feeling vulnerable and wanting to feel more secure, in a way, feel more protected.
Like physical.
Yes,
security.
yeah. It's just like, I need something to feel, like that. But then there's another thing, which is looking for ultimate security. Right. So it's looking for fulfillment, looking for something which is going to mean that I'm okay.
Right. So is there something between those two extremes?
Well, I mean, essentially those two can seem to happen together, but ultimately there is only that feeling vulnerable or whatever is what is. There can just be a feeling of vulnerability, and then a natural instinct to move towards something which feels more protected. That can all that's like an animal, a cat or a dog or whatever, feeling vulnerable, running off and hiding under the sofa. That's feeling more protected. But in none of that situation is that cat or dog looking for ultimate security. Okay, do you know what I mean? It's not kind of going, I'm going to stay under the sofa forever because this is really good. It's
like
just yeah, but you know what? It's not looking for a sort of existential security. What the me is, and there's a sort of confusion there with the me of kind of going, well, if I had all the money in the world, then I'd feel secure. If I have an army, then I will feel secure. and of course it never does, because there's never a feeling of security, because there's a constant seeking for security in that existential way, if you like. Yeah.
It's like even if you do get the army or the mansion, then there's still like a fear of like losing the
Yeah,
army or the
exactly,
mansion, so it's
exactly.
not- doesn't work.
Constantly, yeah. I mean, you can see that in the world. You know, the various superpowers. You know, with all their armies, all the individuals who are in. You know, and yeah, you have to keep it up. You know, if you've got an army, you've got to keep on having an army, and you've got to make it bigger, because the other guy's going to get an even bigger army, and so you know it's a constant, yeah. All that's going on in the world, you know, in that political picture, or you know, in any of that, is really just the me increase. In a certain sense, it's the me's frustration increasing and increasing, not being able to find what it longs for. You know, and that sort of creates those, you know, huge stories around that. Enormous, you know, the complex stories around that. And all there is just this. This is constantly being missed and turned into all of that. This is constantly being missed, and then there's a grasping for trying to find what me needs.
I think partly because what's being longed for, that childlike, you know,
Mm-hmm.
is camouflaged with all this other stuff that you think you will get.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well, it's certainly sold very, very well, isn't it? Like if you do this and that and the other, then you will get fulfillment, and particularly when you're younger, that's money and power and knowledge. You know, if you know everything, then that's fulfillment right there. But it's an endless. It's endless.
Likes. If you get likes.
Yeah, likes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more you get.
Likes.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel good.
Yeah. And then, you know, if you don't get as many likes when you post something, oh my god. Yeah.
David, you said what is being missed. So this is what's being missed.
What is what's being constantly missed. Yeah.
It's being
For
missed.
want of a better word. I mean, nobody, for want of a better word, there's nobody that can see this or claim this or whatever. It's just that what is constantly
being missed.
there's a constant avoidance of what is.
To what already is.
Mm.
And at the same time, the death hasn't happened. So when it hasn't happened, then how do you know this that's being missed?
Well, I mean, I mean, who knows how that seems to be, but there is something there that knows that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any interest in coming to this kind of meeting. Not that there is very much about but there is a kind of draw to this in a certain sense, because there's something that knows that it's not all okay. You know, this isn't okay. This sense of contraction, this sense of separateness doesn't feel okay. It feels off.
Well, I have to be honest. I mean, just like all the seeking that's happened over the years, and I heard of, oh, non-duality. Okay, so let's go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, that's what you think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You think that there was a sort of choice that was going on about all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, a lot of things, you know, there seems to be a lot of people that, you know, do a whole load of seeking of a whole load of different teachers and lots of different things, and then they all end up in, you know, here in a way. They all end up sort of, you know, recognizing that none of that works.
And then what is this grief that comes up when talking about this or what is?
Yeah.
So then there's like some kind of grief or
yeah, could happen. Yeah.
some kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of grief. Yeah.
Like a grief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's associated with stories.
Sure.
But then there's some grief when you talk about this is.
Well, yeah. I mean, in a way, it's sort of, you know, there's a huge investment of energy, if you like, in me, in the story of me, and what's being expressed here is that is just a story, and there's nothing important about any of it.
And then when we talk about, I don't know, there's some grief.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
I just like felt that come up right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I didn't indulge in it, but.
Well, you
that
can
was-
indulge. You can indulge in it. There's no problem about.
Right.
Yeah. This is the thing. It's not. There's no rules anymore. You know. There's nothing that is right or wrong about anything. This isn't suggesting that there's anything that you can do about what is, because there's nothing for you to do. This is not. This is not about you.
And I think the story is like when there is unfulfillment in other areas of life, and then there's the grief, and then you kind of look at the truth. I mean, the closest to what's the truth, and basically it's I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know
No.
anymore.
No.
I
Absolutely.
don't know anything anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
Nor do I. This doesn't have any knowing at all. I don't know. Yeah. It's the end of all of those ideas about how to get this right.
Or get anything right.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about
Anything.
security, survival.
Yeah, but all of those things are, in a certain sense, the same thing. That, you know, all of the things like, you know, getting relationship right, getting whatever it is right, and then all of those things sort of not working out. You try your very best to make it right, and it doesn't work. Yeah, and this is absolutely okay with that. There is nothing that you ever needed to get right, because there was never anyone to do any of it, and all there is just what is. This doesn't need you to get anything right, ever.
So is it just your body like a reflex? So all of us, whatever is being done by the body is just a reflex, or like
Instinct,
It's an instinct.
instinctive response to whatever there is, attraction, repulsion. It's just movement. Nobody's doing any of it.
that's what I keep hearing.
Yeah.
But like, so I think I've planned my life till now, or I've planned my next
Yeah, you think
month,
that.
and
Yeah.
I think I've
Yeah.
been very
important player in that.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people do. Yeah, they think that they're in the control of all, everything, and that they've made choices all the way through my life to do all of those things. But actually, all that's been going on is attraction and repulsion, moving towards this, moving towards that, just energy seeming to happen, seeming to make choices, but actually no one's doing any of that.
But it just happens.
It just
its
seems to happen on its own. Yeah. No one's doing any of that. Nobody needs there to be anyone in control of that. All that seems to happen is that those things, whatever seems to happen happens, and then me takes hold of that and says, I did that.
Unless I do something that I think is stupidly, I'm like, why did I say that?
Oh yeah, and then it,
why
yeah, exactly. That was just this sort of,
Right, what did I,
Yeah.
I'll be like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why did I say that?
it can be that, or you can just say, oh well, it was a misperception of or something like that, or whatever. Yeah. But actually, there's no responsibility because there is no one.
So just to say one more thing.
Yeah.
So the awareness is that trying to do things, get the right relationship,
Yeah.
or this or that,
Yeah.
or the desires and
Yeah.
the grief and the suffering, and for me it continues.
Yeah.
It continues, the desires continue.
Sure, but the desires that can continue. Of course, natural desire, movement towards, people. That continues. There can be attraction towards people. There can be repulsion towards the people. All of those things seem to happen.
But when it comes to the dying, I'm like, I don't know.
No, but
because
nobody knows.
there's no effort there's no effort on my part in that aspect.
There's no effort. There's no effort on any aspect because it's all the same. There is no one. There's just attraction, repulsion, movement.
Energy. So it's just what's happening.
It's just what's happening. Yeah.
Energies.
Energy apparently happening, appearing to happen. Yeah. There's nothing. There's nothing that is required of you. This isn't about you doing something and getting anything right. You can't get it right. It's impossible.
The question doesn't even arise of right or wrong.
Well, I mean,
there's nothing is right. In this case.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, you were suggesting before that there was a way of doing something right, getting relationship right, and those kind of things. Yeah. Impossible. You can't. There's nothing that you can get right or wrong. This is a blamelessness.
So I oftentimes will do things like out of obligation. Like I don't want to do it, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I need to call my aunt. She's sickly, and does that go away then? I mean, or do you still do things out of obligation or dread? Does dread still come up?
No, I mean not really.
Did it come up before?
The obligation is a kind of feeling that if you don't do something, then you're going to feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
And feel bad about doing something, not doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing here that, feels that. There's nothing that, would feel guilty about, being drawn this way or this way, or being repelled from whatever. Why would that feel guilty? This is just what is. If this doesn't like the aunt or whatever, or doesn't want to engage with that, then this would just move away from that.
And when the ant, I mean, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes, yeah. Yeah, guilt and shame are stories of me, you know.
I guess I kind of feel like communication sometimes. Like if you express that you feel guilty about like not showing up on time, then that's sort of like an apology in itself. So like that is kind of like not always like guilt that's felt. Sometimes it's just guilt that's expressed.
Okay.
I was just kind of like spitballing with that, just thinking out loud, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But like just because one is acting guilty, it doesn't necessarily mean there's like a feeling of guilt that comes along with it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Acting guilty. What would that entail?
Like acting apologetic that you were to feel bad about leaving your friend, like showing your friend up at the bar, like coming in late.
Okay, but there's an acting of that, and there's not really a sense of that. I don't know where that would come from. Is all I'm saying. Why would there be an acting?
Oh, okay. So like if you were to feel guilty, but your friend was to think that your behavior wasn't like you didn't feel guilty about it, but you wanted to make it clear to your friend that
yeah,
you
that's
didn't care.
that's still kind of wrapped up in a story in a way. It's still kind of like almost like wanting to be liked, or wanting to be wanting for that other person to behave in a particular way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of manipulation.
Right.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, there's no that doesn't really go on. You know,
Without
why?
an eye.
Not really, because what would you why would you not just express what it is that is there?
Like maybe like the fear of danger or something, that like the friend might hurt you or something.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
If there's a fear for something, and if there's a response, that there's a response to something, and that just comes out because it's a response to something. Yeah, I can understand that. But if it's an attempt to kind of manipulate something in order to kind of create a sort of a sense of a sense there of there's a me there that wants to control something. That's what I don't think would. It's a difficult thing, hypothetical situation. Hard to identify what you mean by those things. Yeah. Me is a manipulator. You know.
Trying to get somewhere better.
It's trying to get somewhere better. It's trying to be liked, or it's trying to be this, or it's trying to be that, because that's, keeping up the appearance. It's trying.
Mm-hmm.
This is the absence of trying. What is not trying to do anything.
Can trying though be part of what is? You said what is not what is not trying to do anything, but can trying happen within the what is?
I mean, okay, so now it really depends on what you mean by trying. If you're trying to improve yourself,
go and get a pair of pants from the store.
Yeah, but is that trying to go and get a pair of pants, or isn't just you just go?
I see. Also, the idea of trying involves the self-improvement,
Yeah, often.
seeking, searching.
Yes, it's in seeking something.
I see.
trying to find something,
It's
isn't
not trying to just look for a Starbucks.
Yeah. No.
That can happen.
Yeah.
Looking for a Starbucks can happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question, David.
Mhm.
You know, like they say, like the soul has its own journey. Like even though the heart and the mind may want certain things, but your soul has your own journey, like in your growth, or I mean that's what they say. Where does all that? Where does the soul fit in this?
There is no soul. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry
Oh
about
yeah, you said that 10 times.
No. It's just no soul.
It's a story. Is it a story? It's just this idea.
It's a story, yeah, of
this
course,
idea of
yeah.
a soul
Me
and,
is the soul. Well, okay, we could say me is the soul.
Yeah.
Could say that sense of separateness. My soul. It's mine.
So there's no soul, nothing. I mean, there isn't.
No, I mean the soul, because the idea of soul would be that the soul carries on past the death of the body, this kind of principle or that sort of idea. That's really what it's about. It's about continuation. So it's about, reincarnation, and all of those other things are associated with the soul, or going to heaven, or wherever it is. So soul is just another. It's of course a separate bit. So it is actually separateness.
So we are nothing. There's nothing.
All there is what is.
What is?
But what about energy? Like if you instead of soul, energy, so like it's everything's just energy.
Everything's energy, yeah, sure. So I mean, it's just what is meant by soul. What do people mean? And for my sense is that what people mean is actually me. I think the me state is the soul. It's the description of a soul. Because that's the thing that actually wants to preserve itself. So it says, "Oh, I'm a soul," and then I have to carry on. So it's all about me.
Or what's my purpose?
Almost, the soul's purpose.
The soul's purpose.
Yeah, well, only me is gonna. I want to know that. So soul, is another word for. In a way, it's another word for the me state.
David, I've been fascinated for many years by near-death experiences.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of testimonials
Mm-hmm.
of near-death experiences.
Yeah. The key word there is near. Yeah.
Well, there is people who actually were clinically dead and then came back.
Mm-hmm. Still near.
But I mean, they all seem to sort of corroborate this idea that there is another plane somewhere, and God, and it's all loving, and the soul, there's a soul, and da 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 da.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say that there's just stories, more stories, or what?
Well, it's an interpretation. There's the me. It's in another has an experience.
They have an experience,
and that experience is turned into part of the story of me.
I got it.
And so that has to be something to do with me, and also then referring to other things that me knows what can relate to this. Souls, the things that these things. It's an interpretation of something which is completely impossible to understand. And that also happens, by the way, in psychotropic experiences. In psychotropic experience, psychedelic, yeah, it's same thing. Things go on. There's nothing that knows, what that is, and then it's interpreted as being whatever, and that becomes, my new story versus my old story. It's another story. Yeah.
It's interesting that we can recognize it a bit easier. Like if you meet a person that's all like me, we can say like this person is so much into the me, but we're having a hard time catching how that mechanism happens so fast in us, right? The thought claiming the experience.
Well, there's something, but that's the idea that there is something that can observe that, which also is me. Yeah.
So when the me drop, who would know?
No one.
Then how can you tell?
I can't.
It's hard to imagine.
Right. But it's actually impossible to imagine, I have to say. You can't. No, this is impossible to imagine.
My brain cannot.
No, of course not. No, you can't get, it's the analysis, it's at the end of it, the ability to analyze what is being expressed. You can't, it's the end, it's a paradox. Yeah.
David, may I say something about mantras?
Mm-hmm.
No, if it's calming to oneself to just say a mantra,
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? Is that all right?
Everything's okay.
Everything is okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to push it like, okay, now prayer is bad, this is bad.
No,
So
there's
it's
nothing.
like just like qigong and tennis
Yeah.
and everything else. If that inclination of that body is to pray or meditate or say mantras, it's okay.
And there's nothing that's right or wrong. You
Not
know,
even suffering.
Okay.
nothing's right or wrong. So you know there isn't a prescription or formula to get anywhere. You know, and also if seeking itself can just go on. There's nothing that anybody can do about that. So seeking can go on in many different forms, and that's just what's happening.
Well, mantras, for instance, if one is very agitated, like it has the tendency to have a very active mind, constantly running around like crazy, the mantra can calm me down, remove a bit basically, just like benzodiazepines, it can just calm me down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and so it's equally as okay as a benzodiazepine. Yeah. Mantra, benzo. Yeah.
So Derek, who experiences the death?
No one. Yeah, no one does. Yeah. That's it. It's the end of happening. Everything's happening before. Seems to be before happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
End of seeking. End of me. End of time.
And that's the difference between what is versus what's happening this time.
Well, there's nothing's happening. So, I mean, in natural reality, let's talk about it like that, is that all there is this. So there is nothing that's happening. There is no time.
What does that mean? All the
I mean, I can't tell you that, what that means. But what all there is this. There's nothing happening because there's no time. Happening is in time. It's in the story.
So then the words that are being spoken.
Yeah.
Immediately.
It's just immediacy.
So when I said the words that are being spoken, like 1 second ago, was just what? Immediately then, and this is immediately now. It feels like a difference.
Well, in time, in the apparent time, there's an apparent past. It seems to be like there isn't a past, but it's the appearance that a seeming past. But there isn't. All there is immediacy. There's just this.
I don't get that.
No.
I've heard it described as a carpet that is rolled out, and the me seems to want to go to that corner and then it moves over to that corner and this corner. But as you can see, the carpet is here now, and the carpet is. It just is now. This carpet is it. But we want to make it into something else. The me wants to have the yesterday, today, tomorrow, and he did this to me then 200 years ago, and I will reincarnate and get this guy back. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be funny, but to me it's hilarious. No, this is it. There's nothing else. That's a concept our mind can't handle. That's why we can't. You can't speak it, because the minute you do, it's not that. It's this.
So not to harp on it, but when you say all that's happening is like this is it this meeting or this gathering, is it, or is it just like this? Is it?
Well, I mean,
or is it like
this is a meeting.
Well, yeah, but the meeting for me is going on for 4 hours, and I feel like you're gonna tell me it isn't 4 hours.
Well, apparent 4 hours. It seems to be 4 hours. But all there is this. There's only this.
You know the expression "time flies when you're having fun"?
Yeah.
Time is kind of relative, isn't it?
Well, I mean, that's a good point. You're right. Or time, if like I'm like getting in an accident or something, it slows down. Like.
Mm-hmm.
So I do get that.
But yeah, time isn't real. Yeah. Me isn't real, so time isn't real. Oh yeah, thank you. Take care. Yeah.
So when you say only this, is that means the past and future is not relevant? It doesn't mean they not ever exist, but it's just they're not relevant anymore for this.
No, it is. You know, the what that's would assume is that they're relevant somewhere else.
No, for this is not relevant anymore.
Yes, but somewhere else, past and future would be relevant. This is what this is expressing, is that there is no relevance, and future and past are completely. Are just part of me. It's just it's part of the contraction of me. So then they're not real. Future and past, not real.
Only real to me.
Only real to me. Yes.
If
yes.
there's no me, then it
exactly.
just doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. Only real to me. Yeah.
I'm sorry to.
Not at all.
See you
No,
again.
ask anything you want. No problem.
So and I think you said it, but somehow it's not clicking for me.
No problem. Yeah.
So if this me, this contraction,
Yeah.
is part of what is,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then why do you say that it's not real? What does that mean that it's not real? So it's part of what is.
Mm. Yeah.
So what does it mean that it's not real?
Well, it's real difficult. You know, what the sense of contraction. This sense of contraction feels that it is real. I am real. That's at the sort of base of it all. You know, I am a dense, real object or subject calls me. And what
And
this is
separate
saying,
from the whole.
separate from the whole. Yeah, separate
so
from
that's
the whole.
where the
yeah.
unreality comes.
Sure.
That idea that
The
this
sense of
contraction is separate from the whole.
Yeah, that's
From
right.
wholeness.
It's separate. It's separateness. Yeah.
It's separateness.
Yeah. So that
not
means,
unreal in the sense that
well, it's not real or unreal. It's neither real or unreal. It's unknowable. Everything is unknowable.
even the contraction
Yes,
is unknowable.
everything,
The contraction
everything,
is unknowable.
everything is unknowable. Yeah, it's just energy appearing as that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just energy. Another way of describing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's more clear. I just was having trouble with just semantics of it.
Yeah,
when you
sure.
say this is unreal, but if it's part of what it is, why does it?
Right.
Like sort of trying
Okay,
to
so I
put
mean,
it all
we
together.
don't have to say it's real or unreal.
Right.
It's
It is what it is.
It's what is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Sorry, I'm going to ask this again.
No, please. Yeah.
So what is the purpose of this?
There's no purpose here.
So what I'm saying is like, okay, the me we're talking about is not real, and then, you know, all this, the meaning. I mean, what I'm saying is everything, and then the death. Like, what's the purpose? Like, where did it start and where is? I mean, the death. Like, what is all this? Like.
I mean, yeah, no, no,
That's
but
what's coming to me right now.
yeah, sure, no, I understand. I mean, there is no answers here. There isn't anything here that knows anything, so I can't, sort of give you an answer that's going to be satisfying in a way to me. Because me wants to know what the meaning and the purpose is, because then it can have a direction towards getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. And in a way, what this is, sort of expressing and talking about is that there's no possibility of knowing anything, and that there is no one to find, to have a meaning or a purpose. So it's actually kind of, in a way, just the complete reverse of what it is that is normally talked about. What is normally talked about is meaning and purpose, is getting somewhere, is trying to get to a goal, to an end result. And this is actually saying that there isn't any of that.
But even that.
Well, that doesn't.
Saying something.
Well, it is expressing something. Yes,
yeah.
It is a response to a question. Yeah, it's just a response. But that response may not be what is wanted.
Well, I more think of space, or space like not the space, but just blank, like something that like there's nothing here. There's, for me, like something like that. There's just nothing.
Yeah, that's what is, in a way, what is expressed here. There's just nothing.
There's no me, and there's nothing.
There's no me. Yeah.
There's no me. So basically, because there's no me, then there's no stories, and then there's the end of me, which is the death.
So
but
I mean,
then that's all still something that the mind is trying to understand.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
But
there's, in a certain sense, there's you could say that this is not real, but you can say that there's two worlds. There's the natural reality, what is expressed, expressing that there is no me, there is nothing, there's just what is. And then there's the world of the sort of the bubble of the me state, where there is a sense that there is a meaning, that there is a purpose, and that I'm going somewhere on a journey called my life. And those things don't meet, or don't have it's completely different, totally different way of expressing something.
well, the way I also look at it is, if this body dies, which is the reality, that's the end of me.
Yeah, that is
so
the end.
If I shed this body and I die, the story of me ends.
Absolutely, yeah. That's absolutely the case. Yeah, but also the me, that contraction, that quality of contraction, that sense of separation can also fall away without the body dying.
Right, without the body dying.
Yeah. So that can also seem to occur.
So what is the difference? So the body dying, so the me is gone anyway, and
Yeah.
searching is gone.
Yeah.
All that is gone. So it's like dying before the physical death.
Yeah.
But there's no purpose to that.
No, there's no. Of course, no purpose at all. No purpose or meaning of that at all. No.
Like
one would, that's, yes, there's no purpose.
And there's no value, higher value. Like if
No,
if you die before you die, or you die when you die. Right.
No, there isn't.
There's no higher law.
No,
It's
there's not.
decided.
No,
There's
absolutely,
higher law.
no.
No
There-
better, no
no.
worse.
No.
But I think there's something like it feels like something was missed because the dying before the physical death, it's like I don't know. Yeah, I guess again. Yeah. Don't know.
I mean, it's
I
certain
don't know.
Mm-hmm.
we
No.
are indoctrinated, right, Jyoti, in certain traditions to actually have that as a goal, right, to die before we die.
Right.
Even if it's in Christianity, it's in Hinduism, like it's
Yeah.
considered like
Yeah.
a desirable journey, so to speak,
Exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but
And in a certain sense understandable because the nature of the me state is a sense of contraction and separation where there is a sufferance. So it is it is natural that in a certain way that is grasped, is reached for. I want that, the end of that. I don't want to carry that tension, get carrying on. But the idea that me can then do something about that
and get rid of me.
is what is being expressed here, is that is absolutely impossible.
The other day, David, you said something very beautiful about. It was very new to me. This bypassing. There's some people that if you could say it again before you go. There's some people who think that this so-called radical non-duality is the new fad, the new kid on the block, and in fact, I have many friends who are therapists themselves, and they think that this is a form of bypassing.
Yes.
Because
I've
now
heard that so many
people
times before.
who are wounded and have traumas, and they're no longer resolving their trauma, they're no longer paying the therapist.
Sure.
Now they're like, everything is as it is, everything is great. I don't need you, I don't need you, I don't need you, right?
Sure.
And so
I mean, that if you've been around non-duality circles, you know that isn't what happened. What's going on anyway? But sure.
Yeah. But you said something really beautiful, that actually the real bypassing.
Well,
right, that
there
the
isn't
me
any.
is a constant bypassing
The me.
of what is real.
Well, no. I mean, what I was saying is that the nature of story and going into psychological story to kind of try to resolve things and become and improve and get better
It's a bypass.
is the same. It's the story of me, which is constantly avoiding
overlooking what it
and
is.
avoiding what is. So it is a constant bypassing, if you like. It's a constant attempt to try to get away from what is. So it's the total reverse again of what is being expressed in that. Of course, because it's the me that's doing that, and the me is very heavily invested in story and in working things out and in psychological understanding
and
becoming. Yeah.
And when it's not interested in becoming, then it's interested in dying.
Yeah, well, it's all, but that's as a form of becoming.
As a form of becoming, it's still a journey,
As a form of becoming. It has a fantasy about what this is.
Yes.
It's not what this is, but it has a fantasy of what this is. Yeah.
Which is ending of desire, ending of longing, ending of suffering.
Well, I
Something
mean,
like that.
the ending of desire. There's still it's difficult to know what you mean by that. Perhaps you could call it the desire of becoming, the desire of reaching enlightenment. All of that. If that is what is meant by desire, then perhaps. But there is still attraction and repulsion going on all the time, and there's a desire. If this body is hungry, wants to eat, etc.
Like a desire to become a role or like a persona.
Well, persona.
Like a good father or like
Yeah,
an
that's
enlightened
all
being.
of that. So all of that is a kind of that's a sort of another purpose or meaning that me might have.
That's the desire that falls away, though.
That desire falls away, yeah, because it's another sort of. It's not. It's another image.
Mm-hmm. It's like trying to become a character.
Yeah. This is the end of roles. Yeah, there's no more roles. It's like a tree doesn't pretend to be a dog or something.
I heard that person comes from like acting, and like just being a person in general is already putting on an act.
Well, yeah, for me, yeah, it is always an act.
Like any form of personality falls in that category.
Yeah, I mean, if you see very young children, then there's no acting there. It's just what it is.
It's raw.
Yeah. So you know what I mean.
It kind of like makes you wonder back to like when was like the first time that you started acting. Yeah, sure. Well, usually when there's a me. When there's a you that starts acting.
There's a me, then that's an act.
Mm-hmm.
Time begins, the role begins.
Just the identification of separation is like I'm over here and there's over there. That's the act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because there's in a way, I am an object or a subject.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always an audience.
Mm-hmm. And without that, there's just this.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's no audience. Yeah.
Now I'm starting to sound like you.
No. I mean,
There's no you.
I take that personally.
I'm starting to sound like that.
Right.
Like this.
Well, I mean, sound like I don't know. What I mean. It's just there's only a few ways of talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So in the story, after you hear the message, do you think it's easy for David the me drop, or is still a lot of eating?
I don't. Sorry, can you say that? Can you ask that again?
In the story, after you first heard this message, is the me dropping is easy? Do you think it's easy?
From what I imagined it would be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, me had many, the me here had many sort of ideas about what it would be like for the me to fall away, and it wasn't any of the things that I imagined. It wasn't anything that I imagined. I imagined a whole big dramatic end to me, and it wasn't anything like that at all. It was just the end of seeking.
It's a very peaceful transition.
Yes, you could say that. Yeah, very peaceful, very, very uneventful. Is a better way of saying it. Uneventful, unimaginative.
And a gradual, in a quoted.
It was kind of gradual in a certain sense that there was a sort of long, drawn out sort of falling away of different structures associated with me, and then at the end it was just the falling away of me.
Well, but you knew it had happened. It was like
Yeah, it was obvious. It was obvious. This is obvious.
But prior to that, things were falling away.
Yeah, kind of.
Gradually.
Yes, sort of. There's sort of things that like just things that could. This body just couldn't do anymore.
Right.
You know, couldn't do things that,
Ambition, roles.
yeah, roles, exactly, all of those kind of, exactly that, yeah, roles and things like that, which were just superfluous.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like a process, but they just are like sloughing off.
They just seem to fall away, yeah.
Right.
They can't be done. Can't be, no energy for them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When you say roles, like the role of a son or the role of a what?
Could be that.
Something.
Could be that, yeah.
Role
But
of an employee, role
yeah,
of
role of an employee, role in life, role of a healer,
a friend,
whatever, yeah.
And did you say structure? Structure before the me change, structure change, or the drop the structure?
Well, I mean, that is, all of those things are sort of the structure of the me, all of those kind of things we were talking about. The me has got a particular, you know, role and personality and, you know, or
Usually a lot of roles and personalities.
yeah, a lot, yeah,
Depends what
multiple
you're-
personalities, yeah. Me is very much like that, can be, yeah. And those just sort of, you know, just, there's no energy for it. You just, yeah.
You just stay home, relax,
It could be that, or it could be going out,
do something different.
doing something. It depends on what's there, you know. There's no rules about this, so it doesn't have a particular format. It just sort of, in a particular body, it just seems to fall away.
David, what there, not that it needs to be, but what there are reactions from, let's say I have a role
Yeah.
and that falls away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there may be reactions from
Oh
you.
yeah.
Was
Oh
there-
yes. Oh yes.
there may
Yes.
be-
Of course. Yeah. Some quite aggressive.
Right.
Yeah.
So that
Why
can-
are you not behaving the way that you're supposed to
Exactly.
behave? For God's
Exactly.
sake.
Mhm.
Yeah. All of that kind of thing. That, you know, that would seem, you know, to go on. Yeah. Oh yeah, because, you know, the you know, this was involved in that healing work.
Yes.
You know, being a healer, being a good person. You
Yes.
know, and then that sort of started to fall away, and people didn't like that.
Mhm.
Didn't like that. You know. So yeah.
I mean, I would imagine even, like, if I was your mom, right, I would worry about, so David, so how are we going to pay the mortgage, or what are you
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
do?
People very
Be
well
worried
think
about all
about
kinds of things.
all kinds of things. Yeah, all
Okay.
kinds of things. You know, in fact, the only thing that wasn't worried about it was this.
But everybody else was worried.
Yeah, may have been. Yeah, it could have been. This didn't give a shit,
But yeah,
actually.
yeah, yeah. This is helpful because I sometimes think about my son, and you know, as a mother, you have ideas about you want.
Well, quite. Yeah.
I want him to gather the Social Security credits.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
bothered by
No.
it, you know, but I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So it helps me to. I'm seeing myself in that other camp, so
Right.
I can relax a little bit.
Mhm.
Maybe everything is all right.
Well, I mean, you know, it's not under your control anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, it never has been. And
Absolutely.
I'm the same. I've got
Absolutely.
2 kids. And I'm like, well, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do that. They're very like doing well, thank goodness. But I'm like, wait, to hear that like
But that's
I wasn't
interesting,
there to do it,
Yeah, and they're not your kids either.
and they're not my kids. Yeah,
Mm.
it's really
There's nothing there that owns anything.
yeah. It's just a
Revolutionary.
really shocking thought.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that I don't have to still be. Like,
No.
Are they okay? What should I do? I don't have to.
There was never a role, actually.
There was never.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Things seem to happen without the role.
So if you have a mom, which you do, and she's not well, if you feel the attraction, you're going to go help her. But let's say you don't feel the attraction, you're not going to go help her, and there's no guilt.
No.
I wouldn't be you. Because I know a lot about guilt.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, that's where most people live in that, you know. Yeah.
It's both scary and liberating at the same time. Very scary, but also
Well,
very,
it's you
very
don't.
freeing.
Yes, there's no knowing of your. You don't get to know yourself. It's just what's happening. Oh, there's no feeling towards that, or there's feeling towards that. That's it. Attraction, repulsion. Who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah. Well, we like to plan. You know,
Well,
the
me.
is got-
Well, no, me can. But there's no problem about planning. Planning can seem to happen.
Well,
But
psychological planning. You want to make sure that my son is going to take care of me when I'm 93.
Oh,
and
okay.
that-
Well, that's
all
a
of
manipulation.
that,
That's
right?
actually manipulation. Yeah, that's pure manipulation. Yeah.
Well, I better be nice now. So that
Yeah.
one day
Again, pure
you'll be
manipulation.
nice to me.
Yeah, pure. You know, unadulterated business.
Scheming.
Business scheming.
Scheming.
Yeah, it's a business. Me is a
This is
business.
pure.
Yeah.
It's pure.
It's pure
Yeah.
scheming.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's an attempt to, you know, pull things around, manipulate, like we were talking about. This manipulation of, you know, of what's going on. Yeah,
Absolutely.
to try to get things to be going my way.
My way.
Yeah, my way or the highway. You know.
Is it about any action that has like an ulterior motive goes into that category? Yeah.
Well, anything can seem to happen, you know, but anything where there's a sort of business proposition going on, where there's a sense of 1, 2, you know, there's 1 and there's 2, and there's something trying to manipulate that in order to get what I want, then of course that is me, the story of me, yeah.
As opposed to just being a response.
As opposed to just being a response, yeah. Response out of nothing. Attraction, repulsion. It's very simple. It's a very simple, direct thing. Yeah.
I was kind of curious about going back to like the whole therapy topic again.
Yeah.
Because like I mean I already like have experience with therapy and like kind of like already know that's not really going anywhere good. But then like the next step down is like if therapy doesn't work, then it kind of suggests like taking medications and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I also have tried a lot of different kinds of medications, and
Sure.
also not for me.
Sure.
I was wondering like do some people actually get benefit out of the medications, or is it like just kind of leading people into more separation in general?
Well, I mean, there's a sense of separateness which generates that sort of tension, and contraction, which draws there to be a reaching for various different therapies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there can be, it would seem, that some people can benefit from medications, some people from therapeutics and things like that.
Yeah.
There can be that. You know, not everyone, you know, which I would imagine would benefit from any of those things, but certain people can get a benefit for a short period of time. It will never. I mean, if what is at the root of that is me
Mm-hmm.
trying to find something,
It has to be, right?
right, then it won't be possible for that to resolve.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I theorized.
it can make things feel better for a short period of time,
Mhm.
a little bit, but then very often that will come back in a different way or whatever.
It's like the promise is like they want to get a person to like a stable set of behaviors so that you can always fulfill the role, right?
Right,
But it
yeah.
doesn't really seem to work out that way for
Yeah.
anyone ever.
Well, no, but I mean, but in a certain sense, if that's what your goal is, to bring a person to be able to fulfill a role,
Mm.
then those medications work very well.
Mm.
But that isn't what the individual is going towards, trying to resolve. They're trying to go to resolve this sense of separateness. In all, you know, when they go to therapy, or in almost all cases, that's really what it is. It's a desire. Can you help me to resolve my separateness? You know, can you give me something for that? Can you give me medication for that? Some people self-medicate, and they self-medicate with all kinds of things. You know, drugs, alcohol, psychotropic plants, whatever. There's sort of constant reaching for something that's going to help to get rid of this sense of separateness.
You would say maybe like the reaching itself is kind of amplifying that feeling?
No, the reaching itself is completely natural. There's a sense of tension, and there is a reaching of the body to something which is going to open or calm or feel less tense. It's completely natural. All of that is completely natural. Nothing wrong with any of it. It's just what seems to go on. That reaching to feel a little bit better. And that's what seems to go on, is that it does make people feel a little bit better for a short period of time. And then the me latches onto whatever it is that has been taken or whatever process is there, and then it doesn't work anymore.
Always?
I mean, pretty much. Can you think of a situation where that isn't the case?
No, but there's still hope.
Well, there's still hope for me. Yeah, there's only me is the thing that tries to keep on finding a solution, but it's always got an intention to do that, and that intent is involved in the process of trying to resolve itself, and as a result, it can't, it doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no hope for me. Yeah, no hope for me. It's kind of like a prison, which is full of stuff. It's just full of stuff, and there's hardly any room to move. you know, and so you bring a, you know, house clearing specialist, you know, and they help to clear the prison out of all of this stuff, and there's plenty of room in the prison, you know, and then you might actually get a whole luxury kind of, you know, shelving units and carpets and all kinds of stuff. You put it in and it feels really good, and you get a feng shui consultant to come and kind of do all of the feng shui of the prison so that it feels really smooth as you kind of go round, you know, and feel really good. It's still a prison though, isn't it? So that's what's going on with me. That's me's, you know, engagement in those kind of things, like what you were, you know, talking about. Yeah.
Then the alternative to that is the absence of me.
Well, there's no alternative to that. All that happens is that whole process of trying to fix the prison just falls apart. The prison goes into disrepair and falls apart. And then there's realised that there wasn't really a prison.
Sure, yeah.
I like doing this in Folsom. That's really good. This is the real, you know, Folsom Prison Blues. This is This is it, man.
That's why you were attracted. That's why you were attracted to that.
That's what I was attracted to. Yeah. Johnny Cash all the way, man.
That's why people cry when it happens.
Why?
Well, some of them do. Some of them don't.
Yeah.
Some laugh.
Because
Or
they
some of them don't do
realize that
anything.
it's all pointless. Not pointless in the sense that at the time, but to the realization that everything was neutral, everything was okay, there was never a problem, it was just this immediacy, this. And then you exhale.
So David, do you admire a beautiful view? The ocean, the mountains?
I like you know, walking in nature, and yeah, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you still like eating?
Eating?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
I thought maybe something changed.
No. No, eating is great. Yeah. Yeah.
But is there a story? There's no story.
No, there's no story. It doesn't have to be a story. It's just enjoy. Just
What's
this
happening?
body goes towards what is pleasurable and away from pain. So does that.
Prefer pleasure than pain.
Oh yeah, yeah. Normally, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way. Yeah. It's just the way the body, you know, actually just thrives. Yeah.
The body that's not real.
Well, yeah. It's not real, yeah. There's nothing's real or unreal. So that's the kind of thing. It's neither real nor unreal. Not empty nor full, not nothing nor everything. It's none of those things. It's just unknowableness. All there is unknowableness. All there is immediacy.
Immediacy means what is.
All there is what is. Yeah.
What is.
In Buddhism, I heard the quote saying that before Nirvana, chop wood, carry water. After Nirvana, chop wood and carry water.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, appearances may not change so much, or something that this is.
Maybe, except that if you get bored of chopping wood and carrying water,
No,
you
I
can get
think-
somebody else to do it.
No, yeah, exactly.
For that.
But I think what they're trying to say, on the surface, it may look the same. He's still enjoying mountains, but
Yeah.
you know, him enjoying mountains and me enjoying mountains may not be the same business. You know.
I mean, you're.
Because my program is still going on with
The me is still going.
right, the me, blah blah blah. But on the appearance level, it's just the same. You know, it may look the same.
You said everything is real and unreal.
You could say it's real and unreal, or you could say it's neither real nor unreal.
Neither real or unreal. And why is it so real or unreal? So it's not real, so why is it not unreal?
It's neither. It's neither, because the me
It's
is
neither.
the me is trying to identify something. It's saying, oh, this is unreal, or this is real. It's trying to, hold on to something.
Right.
It's all about identifying something, Even if you call it nothing, then somebody, so the me will try to say, oh, this is nothing. So we'll turn it into an object. So my point is that it's none of the ideas or concepts that are there. Nothing can touch this. All there is what is. All there is immediacy. So what is longed for is already everything. What is longed for is already this. This doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need you to find it. It's already what is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.